Drance on the Big Ten season trying to be saved. If you're new to the channel or if you've been with the channel for a while, you may or may not know I am a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. And if somebody would have told me I'd have been rooting for Ohio State, I would have said I'd rather drink turpentine and piss on a brush fire. But I am rooting for Ohio State. There is a major Big Ten rumor out there right now. Ohio State is still and has been working behind the scenes on a 10-game schedule for this fall. As we know, a lot of Big Ten players, particularly Iowa, 60 parents of Iowa football players, sent a letter off to the Big Ten. They want to play. And look, the Big Ten is looking worse and worse in this scenario because it looks very much like the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 is going to play football. The woke left-leaning media that wants to keep you all worked up in a lather over the coronavirus, the Wuhan virus, the Kung flu, the Chinese virus. We call it Chinese because it's from China. Keep you worked up and worried about that. Doesn't want to see football played this year. Looking right at you, Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. But let's go over this rumor because Jim Harbaugh, Bo Schembechler, I need you to make this happen. Michigan is not part of this yet. 2020 Ohio State football season seemed to be all but over. Ever since athletic director Gene Smith announced there's no prospects of disbanding the Big Ten even for 1 year, following the conference way too early, wildly irresponsible decision to cancel fall sports due to COVID-19. That hasn't stopped Scarlet and Gray quarterback Justin Fields. Justin is probably the number 2 quarterback that will come out in the NFL draft. Released a petition asking the Big Ten to reconsider that quickly became the top sports news story in the country. Ryan Day, the head coach, endorsed his star player, and the parents have continued to express hope. All right, this is where it gets wildly interesting. According to longtime college football writer Jeff Snook, who has a degree from Ohio State and covered the Buckeyes for years, the hope for the Scarlet and Gray to play this fall is not dead. At least not around the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Snook, who is retired and works for no outlet but remains well connected at Ohio State, he is very well connected. Clay Travis talked about this today. Smith and the Buckeyes still hope for a 10-game season in 2020. According to sources, they are trying to convince 5 other Big Ten programs to join in a mini season. 6 programs. In this proposed format, each team would play the other 5 Big Ten teams who are participating twice. Once at home, once on the road. God, I love this. Beginning on either September 26th or October 3rd. The season would conclude by mid-December, and there would be no Big Ten title game. As of Tuesday night, the source claims that Penn State President Eric Barron, Nebraska President Walter Ted Carter, and Iowa President Bruce Harreld are on board. So, we got 4 schools. The hope is to convince the 2 other universities, the University of Wisconsin and the University of Michigan, come on blue. They really need to flip Wisconsin and Michigan to get the 6 schools to make this work. And they only have so much time to do it. They need to make progress. They need to get this done. Barry Alvarez, the athletic director, is really on board. Michigan athletic director Ward Manuel, former Wolverine player under Bo Schembechler, and Jim Harbaugh also want to compete this fall. But school president Mark Schizzle has so far opposed the efforts. Come on, man. This thing probably won't go anywhere unless certain Big Ten presidents, like those at Michigan and Wisconsin, feel the pressure from their alumni, fans, and especially major donors. I understand that several 7- and 8-figure donors at Michigan are very unhappy with the decision not to play. I'm sure they're livid right now. And the Big Ten originally released a new conference-only schedule on August 5th with windows for rescheduled games, etc., etc. The new commissioner, Kevin Warren, looks like a complete dumpster fire. There's speculation that there wasn't a vote on shutting down the season. All this sort of thing has come out. Look, if you're a fan of any of these schools, this is the time to come together. Let them know it on Twitter. Let Michigan know it. My team. Let Ohio State. Let Wisconsin know it. There are two flies potentially in the ointment on this. One, could there be legal implications? Sure. But what is the Big Ten going to do? Kick out these schools? Not a chance in hell. Also, I've got to point out, if you're a Buckeye fan, if you're a Wolverine fan, the idea of seeing Ohio State and Michigan twice in a year is beautiful. 2020 has been hell. As fans, as sports fans, this would be a beautiful thing. I want to see this. I hope this gains traction, especially in light of how the pro athletes have been acting. I know good and well the Michigan's governor, she's a Democratic dumpster fire. I promise you, she has influenced this some with the University of Michigan. I know she has. I suspect she's probably behind the scenes trying to come down on the school. Because if it was up to her, the entire state would be still in a deep lockdown. That's a fact. That is a fact. President Trump is behind this, behind college football playing. Trevor Lawrence is going to play. I heard today on Ryan Russillo's podcast, Todd McShay was on there, draft expert from ESPN, and he was talking about, look, he said spring football, number one, he doesn't think it's going to happen. Number two, I've heard it's more dangerous to play that spring schedule than it would be to play this one because you're going to be in the winter right during the middle of the flu season. They're talking about this thing starting the last week of December. The Big Ten schedule. Right in the middle of flu season when it's cold and this virus, if there's no vaccine, could really spread. It's a terrible, terrible idea. And Todd McShay believes that most of your top talent in the Pac-12 and the Big Ten will ultimately, he said, if they're a first or second round talent, he said they're going to opt out. And he said he recommended as a draft expert that a talent all the way into the fourth round should opt out or could opt out because he said, look, you can't play these college games and turn around and play an NFL season. He said the body's just not going to be able to handle that. I don't know that I necessarily agree, but I get where he's coming from. Do you want to risk that money? I guarantee you these players want to play now, right now in the fall. And as sports fans, we freaking need this. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. Good God. Hashtag go blue. Come on, Buckeyes. Peace. I'm out. That's the only time you may hear me say that. Till next time.